Picture this, you're standing at the edge of something new, maybe a big challenge or a life-changing decision. And then, here it comes, that creeping fear of the unknown, making you feel stuck. How many times has that fear held you back from moving forward, from seizing an opportunity, or from living an experience you've longed for? Today, we're diving into how to handle this fear we all feel, the one that might be blocking you from living with more freedom and purpose. I'll be sharing practical strategies and insights to help you turn your fear of the unknown into an ally, not an obstacle. All right, let's dive into this whole fear of flying thing. It's not so much about the airplane itself, but really about a deeper fear, the fear of the unknown, maybe even the fear of dying. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how I used to be terrified of flying, but found a way out of that fear. And guess what? That fear of flying can teach us a lot about other parts of life. It's all connected to that urge to control things we can't actually control, right? This need to have everything in our grip. But life doesn't always work that way, and learning to accept that lack of control can be so freeing. Now, when we get into the brain stuff, here's what's happening. We all have this part of the brain called the amygdala. Think of it as the brain's fear center. It lights up whenever we face things that scare us or feel unknown. So no matter how much you logically understand that flying is safe, your amygdala can still get overactive, setting off those fear alarms. It even overpowers your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, which is where you usually make calm, rational decisions. You might be thinking, okay, I know I need to put myself out there more, maybe take that big step at work or take a few more risks. But somehow you just can't shake that fear. You feel it creeping in when you think about making bold moves, like putting yourself in front of people or taking on challenges. It's that same feeling I used to get with flying. Back then I thought if I sat in a certain way or held on tight, I'd be safe. But that's just another illusion of control. It's hard to accept, but it helps to remember that logically, flying is super safe, right? Strengthening those logical neural pathways helps calm down the amygdala's anxious chatter. Funny enough, my fear of flying, I got it from my mom. She's an anxious person and I love her for everything she's done, but I grew up picking up on her nervous energy. Mirror neurons, those empathy circuits in our brains, made me feel her fear even when I knew deep down that it wasn't logical. It took baby steps, what we call gradual exposure, to start getting over it. Little by little, I had to teach my brain that flying is okay. This is actually one of the best ways to deal with any fear, just a bit of exposure at a time to show your brain it's safe. If you're enjoying this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. And hey, if you're able, consider becoming a member to support us in creating more videos like this. Your support truly makes a difference. Now, it's not just about facing fears, but also about accepting what we can't control. Just like in life, there's only so much you can do when facing the unknown. You learn to do what's in your control and let go of the rest. It's like putting a bit of trust in life itself, believing things will turn out as they're meant to. Life's fragile, and understanding that everything, everyone, eventually moves on helps us let go. It's about a healthy detachment, where we love people deeply but aren't clinging out of fear. Letting go doesn't mean you don't love. It just means you free up that energy that would otherwise be spent in holding on too tight. And remember, letting go of fear is a journey, not a quick fix. You might still feel that fear on your next flight, and that's okay. You'll feel it, but did you know that the brain's response to fear is a lot like its response to excitement? It's wild that they're so similar. So if you feel fear about, say, speaking up in public or taking that leap of faith, try rephrasing it in your mind. You can reframe that fear as excitement. Same feeling, different outlook. All right, so here's something cool. A lot of great performers, musicians, actors, athletes, they talk about how they feel these butterflies before going on stage, right? But here's the trick. They don't see those butterflies as a bad thing. They actually think of it as excitement, not fear. This excitement, fueled by a rush of adrenaline, gets them laser-focused, super alert, and ready to go. Imagine it's like your body's way of giving you a boost to do something amazing. Now, let's bring this closer to home. Maybe for you, it's about going on an important trip. You've got a flight booked and, yeah, it's nerve-wracking, but you know this trip could mean a lot for you or your family. Are you really going to let fear stop you? Hanging out in that comfort zone seems okay in the short term, but over time, it actually backfires. See, our brains evolved to keep us alive, not to make us live fully. That survival circuit in the amygdala, the brain's fear alarm, was all about avoiding danger at any cost. But here's the thing, while staying safe might make sense right now, it usually holds us back in the long run. This was my story too. For years I wanted to create videos, to put myself out there and make content that could reach people, but I was scared. Meanwhile, I was constantly consuming content that inspired me, and maybe this is you too. Maybe you've been thinking, why aren't I contributing? It's crazy, but we often hold back from sharing things that could benefit not just others, but ourselves too. And here's the wild part. Creating is a two-way street. When we create something, it's just as much for ourselves as it is for others. Breaking through that fear actually opens the door to flow. You know, that state where everything just clicks and ideas flow naturally? Fear blocks that flow. But when you use adrenaline positively, like in those butterfly moments, you start feeling that flow state more often. Then, of course, there's the logic side of overcoming fear. For instance, if you're scared of flying, take a look at the actual stats. Even though accidents happen, they're incredibly rare. In fact, per 100,000 hours of flight time, there's just about a 0.1 to 0.2 chance of an accident. It's incredibly low. Air travel is literally one of the safest ways to get around. Funny enough, on the road, we think we're in control, but a lot of accidents are out of our hands, caused by other drivers, random malfunctions, stuff like that. This is what's called a false illusion of control, where we feel safer just because we're the ones in the driver's seat, even if it's not truly safer. This ties right back into life. Once you accept that you can't control everything, you actually feel more open to take little, calculated risks. Turns out, it's not planes we're afraid of, it's life itself. We fear the unknown. We fear taking risks. But guess what? Life rewards courage. Courage is like a bridge between those lower fear-based emotions, anxiety, anger, doubt, and the higher emotions, excitement, love, joy. Taking little steps, one by one, to face your fears builds that courage up. So how do we build that courage? By taking calculated risks. Your logical brain, the prefrontal cortex, can help override that overactive amygdala as you practice. Pair that with gradual exposure, and you've got a powerful recipe for handling fears. It's like public speaking. The only real way to get over the fear is by doing it. Sure, writing it out or talking it through helps, maybe with a therapist. But at some point, you've just got to get on that stage. This is a lesson from ancient teachings too. The leap of faith shows up in so many old texts, the Bible, the Tao Te Ching, you name it. Courage has always been seen as the path to growth. And here's the thing, on the other side of fear, there's a whole new world waiting for you. So maybe this is exactly the message you needed to hear right now. Don't let fear hold you back. A whole new side of life is out there, just waiting for you. Here's something to remember. Putting yourself out there is a calculated risk, and understanding that can be such a game changer. Instead of always thinking about the worst that could happen, flip it. Picture the best outcomes. Visualize things working out. See yourself handling any bumps along the way with ease. Even if you get judged or make a mistake, imagine yourself shrugging it off. Ask yourself, why does judgment from others weigh so heavily? The truth is, life's short and everyone's going to go someday. That reality can actually help us lighten up a bit, you know. If this idea doesn't help, not sure what will. So here's a practical tip. Start visualizing things going well. Imagine scenarios where everything flows as you want it to, where you feel calm and at ease. By gradually exposing yourself to these situations and focusing on positive outcomes, you're rewiring your brain to let go of worry and trust the process more. Sure, things might not always go as planned, life's unpredictable, but if you're doing everything within your control, then it's easier to let go and feel at peace with whatever comes next. Think about it. The actual chances of something going wrong, like a plane accident, are so tiny compared to risks we take every day, like driving on a highway or walking down the street in a busy city. And yet, we don't worry as much about those things because we've gotten used to them. It's the same principle. Why get so caught up in fear when logic tells us it's okay? Start exposing yourself to these challenges a little at a time, trusting the process as you go. Over time, you'll find it's absolutely worth it. Whether it's traveling, taking on new projects, or pushing out of your comfort zone, small calculated risks usually lead to bigger rewards down the line. It's like investing. If you're too conservative, you're less likely to get long-term growth. A little bit of courage to take measured risks compounds into something powerful over time. Start taking those calculated risks today. The payoff in the long run. Your future self will look back and be so grateful you did. So, there you have it. We've unpacked how to face that fear of the unknown and turn it into something that drives you forward instead of holding you back. Remember, it's all about taking small, calculated steps, reframing fear, and trusting the journey. Thanks so much for sticking with me until the end. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more insights, and share this video with someone who might need a little encouragement today. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I read and reply to every single one, so let's keep the conversation going.